Coming up next, why furloughed workers don't want to return to work. And I'll tell you the one thing you need to do to build something great. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it starts right now. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. So excited to have you with us as we discuss you. Because you were created to fill a unique role in your work. In other words, you were created to contribute. That means you are tremendously valuable, even if you don't feel that way, even if you've never been treated that way. You are valuable. And somebody out there needs you to show up and be you. It's not just, well, that's nice, Ken, thank you. No, I'm challenging you to become the person that you were created to be, to contribute that work that somebody needs. Somebody needs you to show up and be you. So let's get about that process, shall we? Stage 1, get clear. Stage 2, get qualified. Stage 3, get connected. Stage 4, get started. Stage 5, get promoted. Stage 6, get the dream job. Stage 7, give yourself away. Where are you at? What stage are you in? What does it take to get from the stage that you're in to the next stage? I'm here for you. 844-747-2577 is the number if you want to send your question in to me live in the chat room. Go ahead and do that next to the video window. And the team will gather those, and I'll get to those a little bit later. Please make them short, sweet, very specific so that I can get the best answer back to you. Also, call in live right now. You're watching. It's as simple as just moments from now, we're talking. All you got to do is dial in 844-747-2577. You need to be a counselor today. You need to be a coach. You need to be a cheerleader. I'll be all three. What do you need? What are you facing? I'm here for you. 844-747-2577. Well, this headline jumped out at me, and it gave me really mixed emotions. Furloughed workers don't want to return to their jobs because they're earning more with unemployment. I've seen this headline in multiple places. Here's what's really happening. Because of the federal government with the CARES Act offering $600 extra per week in unemployment benefits, now you're looking at people, because of their state benefits, paying somewhere between $200 to $300 a week. Now with the $600 in federal unemployment benefits, you're talking about nearly $1,000 per week. Sometimes it is $1,000 per week on unemployment. Now, let's just look at the current minimum wage of $15 per hour. That person is making pre-tax $525 per week. Now, you think about how many millions of people are in that range of the minimum wage, and maybe a little bit higher, and you can do the math really quickly. They're making more by staying home on unemployment. Now, this is affecting the very companies that they used to work for and their opportunity to get back into the workplace. But it's this weird, crazy psychological confusion. And I don't blame anybody for feeling this way. It's natural to go, wait a second, you want me to come back to work and work hard in a warehouse, do something that's very physically demanding, not very exciting, and you want me to come back and I can actually make more if I stay home? I mean, that is a natural conclusion, but it is a dangerous conclusion. Why? Well, I'm reading all kinds of stories about small business owners who are meeting that very resistance, and as a result, they can't get anybody back in to work, and they need to get those people in to be able to ramp the business back up, which creates jobs. Hello. So it has a negative impact on the companies as well. And so if they have to hire other people, it's taking more time and more money to train the new employees. So it has a negative effect on the small businesses, which are the backbone of the American economy. But this is a little game of Russian roulette to those of you out there going, hey, man, I'm just going to sit at home for a while. This is going to run out. As it stands right now, July 25th is when the extra $600 a week from the federal government will run out. And now you're going to put yourself back in the marketplace for a job with millions and millions and millions of other people. It's not wise. So you have to have the mindset, folks. If you're sitting there going, well, why would I go back? I'll tell you why. Because they're offering you the job to come back. And your unemployment benefits aren't going to continue. And in some cases, we know people aren't even getting the unemployment benefits that they're applying for. So it creates a negative effect in two ways. It can hurt the businesses that actually are offering jobs, and it creates a disincentive for people to go back to work. And the longer you stay out of work, it has all kinds of mental, emotional, and physical effects on us. Get back to work. Don't take the benefits unless you absolutely have to have them until you can find something else. 844-747-2577 is the number to jump in. 844-747-2577. Before we get to the phones, will you share this YouTube show? Our numbers are growing, and we're ecstatic about this because we want as many people as possible, certainly in this really intense time of unemployment and people needing to get back to work and get back on the path of their dream. We're positioned to give people, as you know, if you've been watching this program, we're going to give people a clear path, and we can help them. We need your help to help others. Will you subscribe? Will you share? Will you like today's show? Anytime you're watching, give us a like, the thumbs up right below the video window. Please subscribe, and please share an episode or one of our shorter clips here on the Ken Coleman YouTube channel. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to Ashton, who joins us in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Ashton, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How are you doing?
I am living the dream, Ashton. What's up?
So I'm 21, and as you said, I currently live in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And every time I've been in school for about the last 4 years, and since that time, I've changed my degree 6 different times. And I keep changing my degree, I keep changing my passion, and every time it's getting me nowhere. So in 4 years, I've completed not even an associate's degree. Every time I find something I want to do, there's a reason that I can't do it, and I just keep spinning my wheels without getting any traction.
Well, I think the issue is you. And I think you know that. And I think you're at a point where you're going, Ken, help me figure out why I keep flipping and flopping. And I think it gets down to something you just said. What is the pattern? Is there a pattern of these reasons why you can't do what you want to do?
Yeah, so I'm 21 and I do have a wife and 2 kids. Okay. So every time I look and I see an entry-level job and it just won't pay enough, or it needs 2 months of an internship, or I'm a sole income household, so I always find something that there's a reason that it won't work.
Okay, but there's 2 factors going on. What's the deal with flip-flopping on the majors 6 times? Why'd you keep doing that?
I'm in a really good position with a very short-term job, and I make a lot of money. So the biggest thing, I'm not really looking at a passion. I'm kind of looking at a lifestyle that the job will provide. Okay, but
you didn't answer my question. So I guess we'll leave that alone. I don't know. Why did you switch majors 6 times? You didn't answer that question. Why did you keep switching majors?
So, I started off in computer science, and I wasn't able to just grasp it. I was able to regurgitate it, but I didn't understand it. So then I switched to business administration. I did business administration, and then I looked up jobs that I'd be able to get, and they were all very low paying in the 40s. So I switched jobs again, and I switched to criminal justice because my passion truly is being a law enforcement officer, but it just doesn't pay enough. So then I started talking to people. I said, well, if you are a cop and you get hurt, your law enforcement degree doesn't get you another job, so don't do that. And then I switched to cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, there's no entry-level positions. You have to start off in IT, so I switched to IT, which I'm in now.
Okay. All right. Do you see what's going on? There's a reason why I wanted you to answer that question before we dive in. You are 21 years of age, and I understand that you're a husband and a father, but you're trying to find the microwave plan, and there is no microwave plan. And so you're making all these decisions based on the entry-level job because you've got this concocted idea that you have to make a certain amount of money. So let's break this down because you've just identified to me what your true passion is, and the work that you love is law enforcement. I want to know why. Why do you love that? Why is that? And don't say one more time on this phone call, Ashton, about how entry level doesn't pay enough, because I'm about ready to spit. I'm so frustrated at you, and I'm going to get to that in a second. And I mean in a good way. Because you're 21 freaking years old. Your perspective is so out of whack right now, it's not even funny. All right? Now, I want to know why law enforcement is something that you're passionate about.
When you were a kid, you probably watched cops. That's just the coolest thing ever. Watching the high-speed chases, finding someone that's able to find all these drugs and get that off the street. I have a kid, and being able to put someone away that would want to potentially hurt myself or my child. There's just something so good about creating a good living environment just as a society.
Great. Okay. Now, what do you make in your current contract job in IT?
It's not in IT. It's actually in sales, and I make about $140 a year.
Okay, I thought you said you were in IT, so you're all over.
Yeah, that's where my degree currently is.
Okay, all right. So what are you selling?
Home health care.
Okay, and is that a contract position? Did I understand that? It's going to end at some point?
Yes, sir.
When?
It's going to end in about a year and a half.
In a year and a half? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you're making $140,000 a year as a 21-year-old?
Right.
Okay, dude. So you know what the problem is? At some point, you're headed towards a crisis in your life when you look up one day and go, you know what? I went out and I was always chasing the dollar to provide, which is a wonderful thing. You've got a great head and heart as it relates to wanting to provide. Well, bro, you're crushing it. Do you all have any debt? Are you living below your means?
Yeah, my rent's about $1,200, which is our biggest expense, and our debt is below $500. We just keep a little bit on the credit card. Okay, no, you need to stop that nonsense because you don't even need it. You don't even need it. So how much money are you saving a month? At the end of every month, how much are you saving? We save about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Okay. So let's say you keep that up for the next year and a half. Run the numbers. What are you going to have in savings? About $54,000. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. On top of the $27,000 we have now. Yeah. Okay. So now you're going to be approaching $80,000 in savings. Okay. So you're going to be, and don't accrue any debt. I want you to save up for house payment. So the question is what do you really want to do with your life? Do you really want to be a law enforcement officer and be okay making whatever that is? $80,000, $60,000, whatever. Is that what you really want to do with your life? Or do you just want to sell something that you're not passionate about and make a really good living and just try to get through? What do you want out of your life? You're 21. Where do you want to be at the end of your life? You want to do something you're passionate about, or do you want to just make really good money? Yeah, I'd love to wake up every day and enjoy what I do. Okay, guess what? You're ahead of everybody else financially. So you can get to a place where you can afford to become a police officer. But you're going to have to get past this notion that, well, I can't be a police officer because I can't provide. That's a bunch of garbage. You've got a head start at 21. So plan financially right now, making the kind of money you're making to make the transition to being a police officer, and be okay with the entry level, because that's where it goes, bud. I mean, you can't get into an industry without entry. Do you understand that? Like, there's no way to short circuit that. And your 21-year-old brain is honestly not mature enough to truly act that way. And I'm glad you called today, because I hope this is a wake-up call. Because you're going to get to the end of your life, Ashton, and you're going to regret a ton. And you have tons of toys and tons of money and all this other stuff. But if you don't do what you love, you're going to be miserable at some point. And I'm telling you now to wake up. And you need to get over this, well, the entry level, I got to intern and all that. No, you don't. I talk to callers all the time that have made the move into law enforcement. Okay? And so if you get through the training and they'll pay you a certain amount as you get in, and now you work your way up, but you can make the plans now to save the money and to live on less than you make and do all the things you're already doing and sock that money away, and you're going to be in much better position than most police officers when they start out. So you've got to switch your priorities. You know, the way this phone call started, folks, I honestly thought Ashton was making about $25,000, $30,000 a year, the way he was talking about it. Well, I got a wife and a kid. I'm 21. I got to provide, and I can't do all these things. I've changed my major in college 6 times because all the entry-level positions don't pay enough. And so I was expecting him to tell me he was making
$25,000 a year or something, and he's making $140,000. Come on, Ashton, man, dude. Well, it's good to be 21. But sometimes it's not good to be 21. You got to have the big picture thinking. So there you go. That was really, I didn't expect that to come out of his mouth. 844-747-2577. Nidra or Nedra. We'll find out shortly. Is it Nidra or Nedra? Nedra. Okay, good. Nedra joins us in Atlanta. Nedra, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
I'm calling because I wanted to know what my primary focus should be at this moment in my career.
Okay.
I am in the Atlanta market, and my position was eliminated as an HR manager about two months ago.
Oh, no.
So I'm currently at home with my 5-year-old, my 1-year-old. My husband is working about 7 days a week.
Okay.
After my position was eliminated, a week and a half later, my children's daycare closed.
Oh, no.
So I'm consistently applying for work, but I haven't received any job offers as of yet.
Yeah.
I currently own a .com to my name, and I'm just wondering what should I focus on in this stage of my career as I'm looking for work. So should I brand myself to other employers? Should I help other job seekers? Yeah. I also was offered a couple of independent contractor opportunities. One is to offer business loans to small business owners or be a virtual contract recruiter. And I was wondering, should I accept one of those opportunities?
Tell me,
for work?
Well, tell me about I'm going to get into that in a second, but tell me about that second offer where you were doing virtual recruiting. That sounds like that's more in your lane. What was that? How much was that going to pay you, and is it still on the table?
So it's still on the table, but being that I'll be an independent contractor, of course I get paid per orders that I fill. Right. So it is in the healthcare industry. So for every recruit or every employee that I bring on board that they accept, I get paid for everyone that I bring on board.
Is that
and
I
also get paid.
Go ahead.
It's not much. It's like maybe like $25 to like $100. Depending on what their job title is, but I also get paid a portion of their hourly rate as well.
Okay, so what do you make? What were you making before you were laid off?
I was making $55 as my base.
Okay,
$55,000 as base salary.
Yeah. Have you run the numbers on this offer, this contract deal, where you're an independent contractor and what you could make? What's realistic? I mean, are you talking about? It takes a while to build that up, right? And then get those folks hired, and then if you're making $100 on the high end every time you get a hire, it just doesn't feel like that is going to add up enough for you.
No, it doesn't.
With the kids at home, that's not a good option either, because it's like you're spinning your wheels. So, what about the other offer? Doing business loans. What's that?
Yeah, so it's also an independent contractor position where I will earn. So this company is a lending company, and they loan out personal loans and business loans. The loans amount is $20,000 to $400,000, and for every loan that gets approved, I earn 5% of that amount.
Okay, so you run the numbers on that deal.
Now that will make definitely significantly amount higher than what I was previously earning, but still have to.
It's the ramp up time. Yeah, I don't like either one of those options, and I'll tell you why. You and your husband are making it right now, correct? You're making it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not in a desperate situation.
No.
So I always look at the short term and the long term when someone's been laid off. Okay, whether it's coronavirus or not, folks, I'm always going to, when you call in, we're going to go, okay, let's look at the short term. What do I need to do in the short term so that I can stay afloat or survive or whatever the situation is to get me back on track for the long term? So because you're not needing to survive, I don't think you have the urgency in the short term. So I start going back to long-term thinking. What do you want to do long-term?
So I enjoy human resources. So my major strength is in administration. I enjoy workplace planning. I enjoy employee relations, and I enjoy consulting as well. And those I know I can get employment with those strengths.
Well, let me give you an example where I'd be looking then, because you've got a very good resume and a track record in HR, right? You bring a lot to the table. I just looked at this today. This is from jobhunt.org. And there are a lot of companies that are hiring. And so they put out a list of the top 100 employers hiring, and it's basically all these together about 600,000 jobs, folks.
Wow.
So Nedra, listen to this, okay? Just in the Atlanta area, okay? I used to live there, so I'm looking at this and I'm going, Home Depot hiring 21,800 people. I don't know what those jobs are, but you got to go look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel, Lowe's. I know Home Depot is in Atlanta, but I'm trying to think of other Atlanta-based companies, or at least that have a big presence there. But just gives you one idea there. There are some big-time companies. Just go through the list for you. McDonald's, AutoZone, Walmart, CVS Health, Dollar General, Amazon. I mentioned Home Depot, PetSmart, Instacart, Lowe's, Cracker Barrel, Safeway, Target, Office Depot. So when you start rolling through all these, you go, and we're talking, by the way, when I mention those, we're talking about 20,000 jobs and higher is what they are listing right now. Wow. So my question is, where are the companies that have offices in your area that are big time companies that are thriving in this economy right now, and they're hiring? They may have an HR position open, or they may just have maybe an entry level position that at least gets you back in the game and you can move up the ladder. So I don't think you've got to make a big jump right now. I just think you're looking at the big time companies that are hiring people like you. They need you. They need HR talent right now, finding them and them the right talent. So I just think that's what you do. If you want to stay in HR, then it's like, okay, I might get called back from my former company, but until then, I'm looking at the big time companies that are healthy, and I'm looking at what they're posting, and I'll take something in HR, even if it's not what I used to do, and maybe it's not as high up the ladder, but it gets me back in the game, and it's going to be a whole lot better money than all this independent contracting stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That's what I would do if I were you. And listen, you've got this, and give your hubs an extra squeeze for working 7 days a week right now so that you can be at home with those kiddos. You know what? Give those kiddos a little extra squeeze and a smooch today, because, it's crazy times, because their daycare's not there, but you're never going to get this back, Nedra, ever. You're never going to get this time back, Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I think you're in a good place. Your breakthrough's coming. You just need to be looking specifically and get you back in the HR space, and those positions are there. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. Let's go to the chat window here. Jack Wright, 1993, writes in, I'm 16 years old, and the education system in the UK is not great. Across the pond. I love it. Can you recommend who or what I should learn from, or any books you recommend? Well, that's an open-ended question. I do want you to go get a book. It's been out a long time. In fact, when I was 17 years of age, someone gave me this book as a graduation gift, and I recommend it to every teenager. So one book I want you to get, Jack, and go on Amazon and get it. It's called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty by Harvey McKay. Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And it really taught me early on the incredible value of learning how to connect with people strategically. People call it networking. That feels gross to me. I really like connecting, because there's a difference between networking. Networking feels like I'm a mosquito and I'm out just to try to bite people and get some blood and move on to the next person. Versus connecting, to me, is all about a deeper dive, and I'm going to be a sponge. So Rachel is sitting out in the lobby. She does a lot of writing for me. Rachel, I've never said this before, but I'm going to give you this thought for you and the audience. Okay, this is called multitasking. I'm live on the air, but I'm giving you a thought. Networking is like a mosquito or a vampire. Connecting is like a sponge. Like if I'm connecting, I'm taking on the persona of a sponge. I want to soak up everything I can from the person I'm with. And that young man is really the true spirit behind that book, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. It's really good. Go get it. Now, who you should learn from are men and women that you look up to. And don't get hung up on, well, I really look up to my drama teacher, but I don't ever want to go into teaching. Doesn't matter. Why do you look up to your drama teacher? I'm just making that up. Okay. Who at 16, who are the men and women that you know through your parents or other relationships, school, whatever, sports, social clubs, whatever, and you look up to these men and women? That's who you should be learning from. At 16, you may not know what you want to do, and it's okay. But by hanging out and being a sponge around the men and women that you look up to and you think they're pretty impressive, and there's a reason why, dive into what you admire most about them and why they are that way, how they got there. You're going to just absolutely begin to soak up so many good things. If you know what industry, or you think you've got some ideas about some industries or specific roles in some industries, this is the proximity principle. Get around those people who are doing what you think you want to do. See, I can expand the proximity principle. You don't have to know, but if you are interested or you think it might be interesting, get around people that are doing that. Get in places where those people are doing their work. And by getting in proximity, you will clarify about the role, about the industry, and then you will verify, yes, I am still interested. Yes, I really would love to do that. Or no, I'm not interested. There's no chance in the world that I would ever do that. That's how it works. Wera writes in, what advice would you give to wedding videographers who were set to make income in the summer, but now COVID restrictions are so strict? Yeah, I've been waiting for this question. I'm surprised we haven't gotten this yet, because if you think about an industry that got slammed, it was weddings, right? It was just unbelievable. So here's what I would do. This is that short-term, long-term mindset. So for you right now, weddings are coming back, and I think they're going to come back in a fury. I mean, I think about, the amount of people that want to get married now that they may be thinking, well, we're going to, and they go, no, all the plans, let's just go get married. And so I think what you have to do is anything you got to do. Pizza delivery, working in a warehouse, driving for Amazon, any number of things. You just do what you need to do in the short term to get paid, and you keep your contacts out there. And I'm telling you, these weddings are coming back, and then you're poised. And you know what I would also be doing? While you're doing what you have to do to just bring in some income, be spending some time going, how could I innovate my wedding videography business? What could I do that's a little bit different and that can pivot? And so here's an idea, and I just got this idea on the fly. This might be awful. I think it's a pretty good idea. But more importantly, I'm giving you a construct on how to think. So if I'm a videographer and I'm going, I had 20 weddings lined up in the month of May, and all of them got postponed. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Are they going to get pushed to June, July, August? Are they going to get pushed to next spring? So what would you do? Okay, so you've got the short-term strategy. I'm going to go get hired doing something, and I got income coming in. Now, I'm looking at my business and I'm going, what can I do now that could generate some income that is connected to the future? Okay, so here's an idea. Could you create some type of format, some video format that allows these couples that have already hired you or plan to hire you, and they do a little 2-minute update on their engagement to all the people they're going to invite to the wedding? And it's really cool. And you create this, this template or something like that, or you're willing to shoot some things for a reduced price, but it's a way for them and these brides, my goodness, their hearts are broken because they've not been able to have their wedding, and maybe they send out a video update to everybody, or they do something on social, and it's a way to kind of connect with their tribe that's coming to the wedding. What are some things that you could do quickly and offer cheaply that could generate revenue for you and meet the need of those clients who aren't able to have the wedding right now? So my idea may be terrible, but that question I gave you, that's what I'd be thinking about. And that's the way you pivot. It's the idea. I'll give you one example. I shared the story 3 weeks ago on the show, I feel like, Nathan, of the the llama ranch or whatever, and they had a bunch of barnyard animals, and their sole revenue stream was, families and kids coming out and, paying a ticket price, and you get to walk around and feed the llamas and take pictures with the llamas and all that stuff. So here they are forced with a massive suppression and shutdown. And what do? They offer 2 or 3 tiers of pricing that you could invite one of their llamas in as a guest to their Zoom calls. And they were doing booming business, right? Because everybody's doing Zoom and you want to stand out. And so you pay $100 and they zoom in and they join your meeting with Larry the Llama. Now, that's what I'm talking about. So as a wedding videographer, what's your llama? That's good teaching right there. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you right now, folks, I hope you get how good that is. That's good. What's your llama? You know, if you got a small business that's been affected by this suppression, you got to go say, okay, I got all these llamas and nobody wants to pet them. What do I do with Larry the llama? He's costing me money. I'm feeding Larry and I'm not making any money. And you know what they did? They probably got in a room or maybe around the kitchen table and said, you know what we could do? We could charge $100 and stand next to Larry, and Larry becomes the star of all these boring Zoom meetings. And boom. By the way, putting a bow on this, do you think that when we get back to some sense of normalcy that they're going to stop offering Larry the Llama on Zooms? No chance. So here's my point. What are the needs of your customer? What are their needs? What are they longing for? What's their emotional baggage about not being able to have their wedding on time? Can you soothe that some way? Not a bad idea. And you say, well, Ken, wait a second. Yeah, I'm not going to make a bunch of money. I mean, how much money is that ranch really making on Larry the Llama? Well, yeah, it's probably paying a little bit. It's not blowing up for them. But guess what? They stayed relevant. They are now in the minds of everybody in their zip code way more than they ever were, right? And you watch, their gate receipts of people coming to pet Larry the Llama are going to go through the roof. Why? Because they pivoted and they stayed relevant. 844-747-2577. I just told the young man over across the pond about the proximity principle, and this deal is unbelievable. Right now, you can get all 3 formats of the book at crazy prices. They're telling me this is the May offering. So you better get on it. And by the way, great graduation gift. Hard copy, $10. Ebook, $8. Audiobook, $3.99. All at kencoleman.com. Go get it right now. Go get it right now. All right. So I teased this at the top of the program, and this is so important right now, and it's so simple, but here we go. The one thing you need to build something great. What do all companies, buildings, sports teams, what do all great entities, whether a business or a physical structure, what do great things all built on? What do they rely on? Before they ever existed, what was present? You got an answer? I know this is ridiculously simple, but so powerful. A plan. I'm somewhat of a, not somewhat, let's be honest. I'm over the top history buff. I'm just a complete history nerd, always have been, always will be. And one of the things about history that I love are older buildings, the architecture of the historical buildings, just the craftsmanship. You know, you go see a massive stone church that was built in the 1700s and you go, good grief, how long must that have taken, Joe, compared to how they can build something now? You know what I mean? And so not only is it grand, quite frankly, I think it's more beautiful than our current structures, but it also took, what do you think, Joe, 5-10 times longer to build?
Easy.
So you're talking about the craftsmanship and the difficulty to build something. And then you think about great companies. What is the thing that is in common? They have a plan. So I think of those big buildings and I think there was a blueprint of some sort back then, right? Somebody sketched that thing out. The gorgeous, grand, modern buildings. You think about it. Where did they start? On a drafting board. And then they go from the drafting board to a blueprint and everybody kind of agrees, okay, we got the engineers involved, the architects, and we drew this thing out and we go, this is the plan. Before they ever build anything, there's a plan. And I think sometimes when we think about our life and our career, and let me expand this beyond just our job. We think about our marriages, we think about our children, we think about the side hustles, the dream job, and we go, oh, I can see it. And we concoct this idea in our mind and we get really excited about it, and yet we forget that That's just the vision. Now we got to have a blueprint. I don't think there's any doubt at all that the architects and whoever was funding the building, any building, I don't have any doubt that they have a vision because they kind of sketched the vision. But there's always a blueprint underneath the vision. You can draw a beautiful building, Joe, all day long. You better have a blueprint that an engineer has approved and an architect has approved, because all those pretty angles you drew, they actually have to exist. And then you start thinking about not just the blueprint, but the materials and the hours and hours and hours put into constructing this. I don't want us to miss the simplicity in this little lesson. I'm all about clarity. It's the first stage. Get clear. I want you to figure out what that Mount Everest is. But once we figure out what that is, we got to figure out how to climb it. We got to have a plan to climb the mountain. We got to have a plan to build something great. And it's not just a plan, but we got to have the plan first. There is no building. There is nothing happening. No execution at all until we have a plan. Now, does the plan change? We can have a blueprint, have a good idea, and we get into this thing and go, you know what? This is our original vision for it, but we're actually going to kind of re-engineer some things. Yeah, sure, of course. Sure, plans change. It's got to have a plan. And so I want you to understand that the clear path we offer, get clear, get qualified, get connected, get started, get promoted, get your dream job, to give yourself away, to get to that pinnacle, to that moment of professional and personal achievement that feels great. We've got to have a plan. And we've got a plan for you. The 7 stages is a clear path. It is a plan. And so if you don't have a plan, call me. That's why I'm here. You tell me what your vision is. I'll help you come up with the things that you need to do to develop a plan. And when you got a plan, oh my goodness, the amount of juice, the amount of commitment and conviction that will come with seeing the plan on paper, it's invaluable. And I would suggest to you that you'll never run out of that juice that is made of commitment and conviction when you have a plan, because you know that there's progress to be made. You can begin to measure the progress, and the progress is what propels us through the process. But you got to have a plan. Do you have a plan today? If you don't, get your head up, get your chin up, come up with a plan. Reach out. I'm here Monday through Friday. Call me. We will come up with a plan. And that's what you're needing to build something great. I hate this, Joe. That means my time's up. That music. Hey, before I go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.